There is one particular enemy in diabetes nobody seems to be talking about. It is the cause of most cases of diabetes, the reason why it is difficult for many people to keep a perfect sugar level, and why diabetes can progressively worsen over time. I'm talking about insulin resistance. As a matter of fact, your body could currently be fighting this without even knowing. But in this video, I will tell you why it is and how you can manage it if only you follow the tips I'm going to be sharing. I welcome you to the Diabetes Specialist Network. If you're new to this channel, my name is Pelumi, a trained nurse in the field of diabetes, and we are going to be talking about insulin resistance today. If you have type 2 diabetes, you might already have the term insulin resistance thrown around you a number of times. This is because insulin resistance is the sole problem in type 2 diabetes and actually also in gestational diabetes. Some people, however, with other forms of diabetes like type 1 or secondary diabetes, where insulin resistance is not the major cause, are still having to deal with this bad guy. So this is to let you know that insulin resistance is still something to watch out for, irrespective of the type of diabetes you have. Stay with me to the end of this video because I am going to explain in full details what insulin resistance is, what its causes are, and ways to manage it. If you have not subscribed to this channel, now is the best time for you to do because we are just about to get deep into this video. Now, in very simple terms, insulin works as the key that opens up the locks in your body cells for the entrance of glucose to feed them to perform normal body activities like walking, food digestion, respiration, and even sleeping. Now, insulin resistance occurs when the locks in your body cells become rusty and therefore requiring extra keys, and by keys I mean insulin, to open them up for the entrance of glucose and for normal body function. Now, if you are wanting to know more about this, especially for the sake of students that follow this channel, insulin resistance is the result of a deranged metabolic process of which central adiposity is a major cause. Central adiposity or central obesity is the collection of fat around the visceral organs of the body. The fat around these organs, such as the liver, the kidneys, and the intestine, release some inflammatory chemicals into the bloodstream, which actually includes cytokines, adipokines, and free fatty acid. These chemicals can become dangerous to the body when they are in a high amount, and therefore bombarding the insulin cell signaling path, resulting in what I will call a traffic jam. This traffic jam slows down the normal way the body responds to insulin, and the body produces more and more insulin to force its way through just for the body to absorb glucose. Now, let's discuss the causes of insulin resistance. The first is central obesity or central adiposity. We've already talked about how this results into insulin resistance. Central obesity is measured by your waist circumference, and normal readings should be less than 94 centimeters for men and 80 centimeters for women. The second cause is genetics. If your parents have central adiposity and by extension diabetes as a result of insulin resistance, you have a higher chance of developing the same. Ethnicity is the third cause. Ethnic groups like the Southeast Asians, Black Africans, the Caribbeans, and the Hispanics have a higher chance of insulin resistance. These ethnic groups are also at a higher chance of developing type 2 diabetes, even at a slightly lower waist circumference. Hormonal imbalance is another cause. PCOS, for instance, is caused by the same metabolic disorder that causes type 2 diabetes, and this is why insulin resistance is very possible in PCOS. Cushing syndrome is another hormonal imbalance where raised cortisol level continuously stimulate the liver to produce more glucose, which the pancreas is unable to cope with. This excess glucose is also stored up as fat around the belly, thereby causing insulin resistance. Chronic infection like osteomyelitis is the next cause of insulin resistance. Infections like these put the body in a state of chronic stress, which cause the release of cortisol hormones, thereby resulting in resistance to insulin. The sixth cause is medications. Steroid tablets like dexamethasone or prednisolone work similar to cortisol, and if taken for a long period of time can cause insulin resistance. Finally, insulin resistance can also happen in pregnancy, especially in women who are genetically predisposed or with pre-existing central obesity. This is usually present at about second trimester and can last till the end of the pregnancy. Now, to the most important part of this video: how can you win the fight against insulin resistance? I'll tell you 4 winning strategies, and the 4th is very peculiar. Weight loss. Major findings from a study showed that over 5% weight loss improves multi-organ insulin sensitivity and beta cell function. In addition, findings from the diabetes prevention program showed that 7% reduction in weight combined with lifestyle intervention significantly reduced the risk of type 2 diabetes by 58%, outperforming metformin, which only reduced risk by 31%. Wow, how significant! And this leads me to my next point, which is physical activity. In this same finding by the diabetes prevention program, lifestyle intervention which involved 150 minutes of physical activity per week, like brisk walking or other moderate intensity activity, was actually found to reduce the incidence of type 2 diabetes. In addition to this, physical activities make your body cells hungry for glucose, therefore directly drawing glucose to itself without the need for insulin. This effect can last for up to 24 hours. Now, here's the best part for me. Do you know that when you begin consistent physical activity, the fat around the belly organs are usually the first to be metabolized? How encouraging can this be? And you don't even need to break the bank on gym subscription to achieve this. Simply get on a walk or jog 30 minutes 5 times a week and you are good to go. The third weapon is your diet. You need to cut down on high carbohydrates, high caloric, high trans fat diet, as they all contribute to the buildup of visceral fat, thereby increasing insulin resistance. A healthy diet is also a great complement to increased physical activity. The last and often ignored weapon is adequate sleep and minimizing stress. Asking people about current stressful situations or sleeping habits is one of the ways I troubleshoot an unusual rise in their blood glucose levels. Oftentimes, I realize that they have diverse stressful situations ranging from grief or care of the loved ones in the hospital, raising toddlers, working night shifts, and a host of other reasons. This is because stressful situations causes the release of stress hormone called cortisol, like I discussed, which causes insulin resistance for that period of stress. Let's be realistic. You might not necessarily have control over insulin resistance if you have conditions like PCOS and Cushing's syndrome, or you're pregnant, you have a chronic inflammatory condition, you are taking medications like steroids or atypical antipsychotics. Using the aforementioned steps might not just be enough. This is where you need to consult the help of your healthcare professionals who would support you with your glycemic control and might consider prescribing medications like metformin to help with your insulin resistance. I am sure you've learned a lot from this video. Please like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more content on diabetes.